So the International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu, which is good. The man is a war criminal, he is facilitating a genocide, and he is a madman. He should be behind bars for the rest of his life. Of course, it's no surprise that this was met with fury from Zionists, but the excuses are just wild. I'm just sick of it all. I'm sick of Israel apologists engaging in genocide denial, shielding Israel from any bit of accountability. Now, this is what Rishi Sunak has said.
Well, this is a deeply unhelpful development. Of course, it's still subject to a final decision, but it remains deeply unhelpful nonetheless. There is no moral equivalence between a democratic state exercising its lawful right to self-defense and the terrorist group Hamas. And it's wrong to conflate and as I said, equivocate between those two different entities. And what I'm very clear is that this will make absolutely no difference in getting a pause in the fighting, getting aid into the region, or indeed the hostages out.
Now, Starmer has actually stayed silent, which, look, he knows it's a difficult manoeuvre for him, which is entirely his fault, by the way. I mean, he's backed Israel all the way, providing the smallest amount of criticism, but nothing meaningful. Yet he wants to be seen as a man of law and procedure. Obviously, he used to be director of public prosecutions, so he can't, be seen to be going against the ICC, but he also can't come out and say he supports it because of his support for Israel. Yet David Lammy, which, anyone who watches this channel knows I don't like him, has done the right thing and supported the ICC's decision, and he even claims that the party does too. David Lammy, Shadow Foreign Secretary, said the party supports the ICC as a cornerstone of the international legal system, whether it is in Ukraine, Sudan, Syria, or Gaza. In a barb at the ruling Conservative Party, Lammy said, "Does the Conservative Party, the party of Churchill, believe in international rule of law or not?" I mean, I can't really disagree there, he's correct. Yet Niall Gardner, former Thatch aide, wrote in the Telegraph calling on Starmer to sack him. Imagine wanting to see a shadow minister removed because they support an internationally recognised institution upholding international law. It gets worse. We have even more unhinged takes. Elon Levy, who used to be the Israeli spokesperson, who is now seemingly just unemployed, tweeted this after Ireland, Spain and Norway supported the ICC's decision. Ireland is encouraging Hamas to abduct more Jewish babies. Spain is encouraging Hamas to burn more Jewish families. Norway is encouraging Hamas to rape more Jewish women. I mean, he is just a disgusting, sick and twisted propagandist. He was sacked as spokesperson for Israel, which I'm not even sure how that's possible. And now he spends his time doing the same job, but for free, which is propagandizing for Israel. But he may wear a suit and pretend he's some sort of important figure, but he's no different to any other professional troll of the likes of Katie Hopkins, Just say the most outrageous stuff. But the problem is, he and many others actually believe this utter shite. Now, the BOD has also made a statement against the ICC. "We believe that the ICC's prosecutors' recent application for arrest warrants with regard to the war against Hamas exhibits an entirely unacceptable attempt at moral equivalence between Hamas, responsible for the October 7th mass terror attacks, and Israel, which has been attempting to uproot Hamas from Gaza. We also note that the prosecutor's application appears to absolve Hamas from all responsibility for the current state of the situation in Gaza, entirely ignoring the way the terror group uses its own population as human shields. We agree with both the FCDO and the US State Department that the ICC has no jurisdiction over this matter, and that its attempt to insert itself in this tragic conflict will bring us no closer to a full and lasting peace." I mean, first of all, the ICC has also issued arrest warrants for the Hamas leaders too. So to say that, the ICC is taking away all responsibility from Hamas is a lie. But also, the BOD are absolving all responsibility of what's happening in Gaza on Israel because they say, well, they're just trying to get rid of terrorists. They have flattened the nation. They've flattened Gaza. They've murdered innocent children. And also at the end they say, oh, look, it's a tragic conflict and this is not going to bring us any closer to peace. Well, first of all, Israel doesn't want peace. And secondly, accountability does bring us closer to that. Because if we don't hold people like Netanyahu account, well, that signals to them you can carry on doing what you're doing. So obviously a statement which is a load of crap, but the Greens deputy leader Zach Polanski ripped them apart and tweeted this: "It's this kind of shameful nonsense that actively fuels anti-Semitism. Stop conflating us with a country that is committing war crimes. If you insist, change your name to border deputies for the Israeli government." Boom. So How are Israel apologists spinning all of this? Well, one is that they're saying that the ICC, as the BOD just said, doesn't have jurisdiction. I mean, they're an international court. I don't see how they don't. Or they're just saying, well, the ICC is wrong. You know, if I commit a crime and then I'm charged, I might just say, I'm not going to prison. I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, that's not how it works. What's funny is that Zionists have called everyone under the sun Hamas, whether that's the UN, the ICJ, or your nan. That's been the go-to response. But the ICC has also issued arrest warrants for Hamas leaders, as I said before, so it will be very difficult to spin them as Hamas cheerleaders. Some, including the BOD, have said they are disgusting for equivocating Hamas and Netanyahu. And you know what? I agree. They're actually right. They shouldn't equivocate. Netanyahu is worse than Hamas. Now, that's a hot take where, you know, someone is going to lose their mind for me saying that. Well, I can say that because, one, since October 7th, Israel has murdered 33,000 Palestinians. And two, Hamas exists because of Netanyahu. He literally propped them up. So if you want to blame someone for Hamas, why not blame Netanyahu? Funny that. I also find it incredibly funny that those who supported the ICC in its arrest warrant against Putin, including Joe Biden, are suddenly crying foul at the ICC now. Now, these are two headlines side by side. Biden welcomes ICC war crimes charges. Biden slams outrageous international criminal court after prosecutor seeks warrant for Netanyahu. And there's also word that Biden wants to sanction the ICC, proving once again they are bullies and thugs who think they are above law. It's almost as if our political leaders are a bunch of psychopaths who don't care at all about law, but simply just want to protect their allies. But I actually think it's more than that, right? Why are Western leaders attacking the ICC? Well, it's because they know they're complicit. They know they're probably expecting their own arrest warrants too, and want to delegitimize the ICC despite backing them on Russia. And it's not just their personal interests, but the interests of the US state. And this clip you're about to see is very revealing.
So we, hopefully, together will find a way to rest our displeasure with the ICC, because if they'll do this to Israel, we're next. This group tried to come after our soldiers. Yeah, you can clap all you want to. They tried to come after our soldiers in Afghanistan, but reason prevailed. So at the end of the day here, what I hope to happen is that we level sanctions against the ICC for this outrage to not only help our friends in Israel, but protect ourselves over time. Mr. Secretary, your statement yesterday was excellent. The President's statement was excellent. Senator Schumer's statement on the floor was excellent about the outrage here. They have destroyed the notion of complementarity. They have misled people in the United States Senate about their intention, and they shall and will pay a price. Mr. Secretary, I appreciate what you've said. It is now time for us to act.
So that was Lindsey Graham saying the quiet part out loud. If the ICC goes after Israel's war crimes, they'll go after the US too. Good! The US has been the biggest destabilizing, warmongering nation in the world, and it's time they were held to account. Now, we have another clip, which is truly incredible. This is Karim Khan talking to CNN about how he received threats to not go after Israel.
Of the individual is the protection of babies. I mean, these are fundamental American values that should engender bipartisan support. Now, of course, this situation, unfortunately, lies on the San Andreas fault of international politics and strategic interests. And of course, I've had some elected leaders speak to me and be very blunt. This court is built for Africa and for thugs like Putin, was what one senior leader told me. We don't view it like that. This court is the legacy of Nuremberg. This court is a sad indictment of humanity. This court should be the triumph of law over power and brute force. Grab what you can, take what you want, do what you will, and we're going to simply be, we're not going to be dissuaded.
Truly astonishing. The ICC was apparently made for Africa and Putin. Basically, the US thinks the ICC should be a racist institution and to basically go after everyone they don't like. And I like that Khan was standing firm. But it's all corrupt, right? It's hard to see how people will face justice when an international court is facing threats and attacks for doing the right thing. Now, it won't surprise you that since the decision of the ICC, we've seen more bogus accusations of anti-Semitism. And it's just sick, isn't it? I mean, those who are accusing everyone of anti-Semitism for opposing a genocide and supporting international law do not care about Jewish people. The term anti-Semitism has lost its meaning, and that is because of those who keep pushing the bullshit claims. This is fueling anti-Semitism, making Jewish people feel less safe, pushing the narrative that peaceful marches are actually marches for terrorism. You are making Jewish people feel less safe. You are actively making Jewish people more paranoid. Now, to me, that is anti-Semitic, because people are willing to make Jewish people feel scared in order to push a political opinion or to defend Israel. And guess what? They're also attacking many Jewish people in the process. Now, I mentioned Zach Polanski earlier. Well, he's now being attacked personally, despite himself being a Jewish man who is standing up for international law. Now, how is attacking a Jewish man fighting anti-Semitism? I just want to say, if you are still siding with Israel 7 months in, you're a sociopath. If footage of the IDF playing with the toys of the children they just butchered, or dressing up in underwear of the women they slayed, or the bodies we continue to discover, or the facts that 33,000 have been murdered, if that hasn't moved you, then you are a deeply immoral person who cannot be reasoned with. You're clearly beyond logical arguments, and certainly cannot be convinced when appealing to your emotions. You can't claim ignorance anymore. Now, I forgive those who backed Israel right after the attack, especially those who weren't familiar with the history. But after the ICJ ruling and the ICC arrest warrant, after Israel and its supporters would rather decry every institution that exists instead of just admitting what Israel is doing is barbaric and criminal, if you find yourself on the same side as those people, you are beyond help. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and drop a comment. It's good for the algorithm, and I'm interested in what you have to say. If you're not already subscribed, please do, and hit the notification bell. You can also support this channel by becoming a member for 99p per month, and if you're feeling a little more generous, then you can support us on Patreon for £3 or £5 per month. This channel for a while has been uploading every single day, and it's quite a lot of work that is still voluntary and scheduled around my paid work. But I have so much ambition, expect in the future to see more variety in content, such as interviews and Vox Pops. But I want this to be a fully fledged media organisation where not only is this my full-time job, but to have multiple people working for Turn Left. I like to see a live show in the future, more content that delves into culture, history, and much more. But that can only be done if there's money. So please, if you can, support us in any way that's in your capacity. And thank you to existing members, subscribers, and patrons. See you next time.